Hi again, we are still on section 3.5 overlapping triangles and I'm on page 139. I will do number 9 for you. So notice I have this diagram and I see two triangles that are overlapping. I decided to separate them for you so that you can see these triangles separately. And also notice we have to prove that parts of the triangle is congruent. So ZW congruent to YW. Well, if I first prove the triangles congruent, I can prove their corresponding parts congruent by CP/CTC. So that's my goal here. Let's take a look at our given. It says, it is given that YW bisects AX. YW is right here, and that cuts in half or bisects AX. So by definition of that bisector, AW is congruent to XW. Let's write that in. I wrote AW is congruent to XW since a bisector divides a segment into two congruent parts. So I'm going to put my tick marks in right away to help me out. And I'm going to put it down here on the separated triangles as well so we can see this more clearly. Okay. Notice what else they gave me in the given. They gave me angle A is congruent to angle X. So I'm going to put tick marks here. Angle A is congruent to angle X. I'll do it down below as well. They also gave me angle 5 and 6 are congruent. So I'm going to have to use this somehow in my proof. And it's kind of the reason why they gave it to me is because I'm going to need it to prove these two triangles congruent. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say now, take a look at angle 5 here. Now, remember, we can assume straight angles, right? And do you see that angle 5 and this angle here, ZWX, those two are supplementary, right? And you can say the same thing about angle 6 and angle YWA. So I'm going to write that down here next. I'm going to say angle 5 is supplementary to ZWX. Also, angle 6 is supplementary to AWY. Okay. Again, I'm using this piece of information that angle 5 and 6 are the same thing since they're congruent and that was a given. So I like to circle this vertically for you to show you that now I have two angles sup to the same angle or supplementary to the same angle. So what I'm going to do is use the congruent supplementary theorem to justify that angle ZWX is congruent to angle AWY. So let's write that next. Okay, well, let's fill in the tick marks for that. So take a look what we have here. We have angle ZWX. ZWX is this angle and angle AWY. So it's harder for me to draw on the overlapping triangles because things can get a bit confusing, but already I hope you can see now these two triangles are congruent by postulate angle, side, angle. So let's say that. And now we're home free, because if these two triangles are congruent, then their corresponding parts are congruent. So now I can prove ZW, which is right here, is congruent to YW. And that is by CP/CTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, that concludes our proof.